2021 is coming to a close, and in terms of hardware, it was a pretty interesting but also exhausting year. We started the year off with a pretty lackluster Intel Raptor Lake launch and ended it on a high note with Intel Raptor Lake. On top of that, Apple delivered their amazing M1 Pro and M1 Max chips. But topic number one was certainly the chip shortage, which is still ongoing and is heavily impacting GPU prices and supply. But next year will be even more packed with new silicon. Intel, AMD, Nvidia and Apple all have big plans for 2022. In this video I will discuss next year's hardware roadmap, what we know so far, what the rumors predict, and if you should be hyped or not. Before we begin, a quick disclaimer. Most of the chips I'm going to talk about today are still in a rumor phase, so there's no official announcement, we don't have an official release time frame, and some of the hardware specs could also change. So expect that some of these chips that we talk about today might change depending on the hardware or the release date. So with that in mind, let's start. And let's start with Intel. Raptor Lake just launched on November 4th, and Intel's first CPU for the socket LGA 1700 is also their first hybrid CPU design, combining large performance cores with smaller efficiency cores. It's also Intel's first desktop release using their 10nm enhanced superfin node, now lovingly called Intel 7. Early next year, we will see more Raptor Lake products being released, from the lower tier non-K SKUs like the i5 12400 for example, to Intel's Raptor Lake H and U mobile CPUs. These will combine 8 efficiency cores with between 2 and 6 performance cores and offer a much improved power efficiency. In the second half of 2022, we also expect Intel's first new entry into the high-end desktop market since 2017 with the new Sapphire Rapids X. Intel's attack on Threadripper, which has been undisputed king since its introduction. And then in Q4 we expect the launch of Raptor Lake, the successor to Raptor Lake, for more e-cores and improved casual gaming. This launch will be very interesting, especially since we will have to fight against AMDs Zen4, but more on that later. And then we have Intel's big entry into the discrete GPU market. Somewhere in the first half of 2022, Alchemist, formerly known as DG2, will release and probably challenge the RTX 3070 or RX 6800 performance tier. I'm really interested to see what Intel actually delivers and how the initial drivers will turn out. On a quick note, if you have hopes that the new Intel Arc GPUs will help alleviate the GPU shortage, then I have bad news for you. Because unlike their CPUs, which are produced by Intel themselves in their own fabs, their new GPUs will be produced by TSMC, so there won't be extra manufacturing capacity entering the GPU market. With that in mind, let's continue. Next up in the roadmap is AMD. And the year for AMD will begin with a bang. The long-awaited Zen3D CPUs will launch early 2022. We don't know the specific products yet. A 3D stacked version of the Ryzen 9 5950X and 5900X should be first, but since this is also around the time where Intel will get their B660 motherboards and non-K Raptor Lake CPUs ready, I hope that AMD will be compelled to counter Intel with 3D stacked versions of the Ryzen 7 5800X and Ryzen 5 5600X. There is no official new naming scheme yet, but I think Ryzen 6000 might be a good guess. With the release of Rampant for mobile, AMD will also finally ditch the integrated Vega graphics early 2022. Depending on supply, this APU might be actually an alternative to GPUs when used for medium 1080p gaming. RDNA 2 combined with low power DDR5 should result in a good performance uplift. And while AMD is at it, the next Threadripper is also long overdue. Chagall was rumored for a 2021 launch, but so far it hasn't happened. Some people say it's scrapped entirely, but since Intel is attacking AMD with Sapphire Rapids X in the HEDT market, I think we will see definitely a new next-gen Threadripper in 2022, maybe even a 3D stacked one. And if all of these releases didn't get you excited enough, in the fourth quarter of 2022, AMD will introduce their new AM5 socket and release Zen4 and TSMC's 5nm process. If AMD can deliver another big IPC jump, Zen4 will be a contender for Product of the Year. And I think we will also see Rampant-based APUs on AM5 desktop too. Again, the exact timeframes aren't known yet, but late 2022 is a really good guess. 2021 was really a horrible year for GPUs. During the summer for a while it looked like GPU prices would normalize again, but now in the winter they have run up again. So I don't think we will see a significant change in 2022 even with the new GPU launches. AMD's Radeon Technology Group has a lot planned for 2022. So let's take a look at this next. Rumors about a 6nm refresh for the current RDNA 2 lineup have been heating up for a while now, and we could have an announcement as early as Q1 2022, but it might take longer depending on AMD's timeline and TSMC's supply. RDNA 3 is really interesting this year, since the rumors and leaks say that the smaller Navi 33 chip will launch first this time, as early as Q4 2022. Navi 33 is supposed to still be a monolithic design, while Navi 32 and 31 will be AMD's first gaming GPU entry based on a multi-core module design. Just last week we have seen AMD's CDNA2 GPUs based on this new technology. The chiplet-based RDNA 3 GPUs are rumored to combine GPU dies manufactured in 5nm with a large infinity cache die in 6nm. The earliest release timeframe could be very late 2022, but there is a really good chance that Navi 31 and 32 will slip into 2023. Nvidia is also not sleeping. A Ampere refresh, aka RTX 3000 Super, has been rumored for a while and is set to be announced early Q1. To me, a lot of those rumors seem very strange, but since the leaks keep on coming, there's a very high chance that Jensen will grace us with a new super GPU. The only question is if you can actually buy them. More exciting are Nvidia's next-gen Lovelace GPUs. We don't know a lot about them right now, only that a launch in Q4 of 2022 seems to be the target, and they might break performance and power draw limits. The Lovelace GPUs should still be monolithic, and maybe Nvidia is returning to TSMC for some of their SKUs. We can expect a AD102, 104, and 106 powering the next-gen RTX 4000 series. And last but certainly not least, Apple had a really stacked 2021, expanding their own Apple Silicon lineup. We've seen what the M1 family can deliver, and this makes me even more excited about what Apple will bring to us in 2022. With the M1 Pro and Max just released, a even bigger chip is rumored to release sometime next year. I've put the M1 Quad at the beginning of Q1, but the rumored Mac Pro chip will most likely take a little while longer. We just don't have any exact information right now. For the launch of the next gen MacBook Air, Apple is supposed to launch a new M2 chip. It should be based on the A15 IP. All the M1 chips are still based on the A14 IP. But don't worry, the M2 won't come even close to an M1 Pro or Max in performance, but probably offer better performance per watt. And then in the fall of 2022, a new A16 will power the next gen iPhone. Right now, we still aren't 100% sure if TSMC N3 node will be ready in time, which could lead to a slight delay, or Apple might be using the N4 process. I think N3 is most likely right now. Maybe it won't be a September event, but an October one for the iPhone. But if anyone can pull a rabbit out of their head, it's Apple. So there you have it, all the rumored shiny new silicon from Intel, AMD, Nvidia and Apple for 2022. Some of them might not make it or slip into 2023, but I think it's safe to say that we have an exciting year ahead of us. Personally, I'm most excited about Zen3D because 3D stacking sounds to me like silicon magic, and if it's gonna be available and supported on my B450 motherboard, I'm pretty sure I will get one. Now I want to know what you are most excited about and your possible build plans with upcoming 2022 hardware. Oh, and if I missed something or some of my information is wrong, please let me know too, down in the comments below. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like, subscribe for more content, and see you next time.